The age-old question, wet food or dry food? Is one really better than the other? In this video, we'll talk about the pros and cons of each and see what the experts recommend. As always, I want to emphasize that I'm not recommending any particular brands in this video. You can find more information about how to choose a proper diet for your cat in my complete guide to cat nutrition, which is available for free. Also, if your cat has any diagnosed medical conditions, then please work with your vet to decide what foods are best for your cat. Let's start with the wet food. The biggest pro of wet food is that it has a much higher moisture content than dry food. This can be very beneficial for keeping your cat hydrated, especially if they're prone to kidney health issues or urinary tract issues. Cats are not great at self-regulating their water intake, so a diet that is high in moisture can help prevent dehydration. Dehydration can lead to many health problems, including kidney problems and urinary tract issues. So it's important to make sure your cat is getting enough water every day. Wet food is usually closer to what a cat would eat in the wild. Cats are obligate carnivores, meaning they need a diet that is high in protein and fat and does not contain any carbohydrates. And wet food tends to be more protein-rich and meat-based compared to dry food. Palatability is another advantage of wet food. It's usually more aromatic and flavorful, which makes it more appealing to cats, especially those who are picky eaters or have dental issues that make it difficult for them to eat dry food. This can be especially helpful for senior cats, who may need to maintain a healthy weight, or for cats recovering from illness or injury. But now let's discuss the cons. The biggest con of wet food is that it has a much shorter shelf life than dry food. Once the can or pouch is open, the food needs to be refrigerated and will only last for a few days before it spoils. This can be inconvenient, especially if you don't have enough space in your refrigerator or if you're on vacation. Wet food is also more expensive than dry food. It costs more per serving and usually less per pound. But since you're only feeding your cat a small amount each time, the cost adds up quickly. Another disadvantage of wet food is that it can be messier than dry food. If you free feed your cat, meaning you leave food out all day, then it can be very messy. Wet food can also be more difficult to travel with. It's not as easy to transport large quantities of wet food as it is to transport dry food. Now let's move on to dry food. The biggest pro of dry food is its convenience. It's much more convenient than wet food because it doesn't spoil as quickly and it's easier to store and feed. This makes it a good option for multi-cat households or for people who are on a tight schedule. Dry food is also generally more affordable than wet food. It costs less per serving and it lasts longer, so it's a good option for budget-conscious cat owners. Some people also believe that the crunchy texture of dry food helps reduce tartar and improve dental health. However, there's limited evidence to support this claim. On the other hand, the biggest con of dry food is that it has a lower moisture content than wet food. This can be a problem for cats who are prone to dehydration or urinary issues. As I mentioned before, cats are not great at self-regulating their water intake. So it's important to make sure they're getting enough water every day. One way to do this is by providing fresh water and by feeding a diet that is high in moisture. Dry food is usually lower in moisture, so it's not the best option for cats who need to stay hydrated. Another disadvantage of dry food is that it often contains more carbs than wet food. This is because many dry foods use grains and other plant-based ingredients as fillers. These ingredients are often less expensive than meat and they provide calories, but they're not as nutritionally dense. As an obligate carnivore, your cat really doesn't need any carbs in their diet. The carbs actually displace protein and fat in the diet, which are more important for your cat's health. High-carb diets have been linked to obesity, diabetes, and other health problems in cats. A final disadvantage of dry food is that it may contribute to overeating. This is especially true if you free feed your cat, meaning you leave food out all day. Cats can eat more dry food than they need to, which can lead to weight gain and obesity. So what's the best option for your cat? Well, most experts recommend a combination of wet and dry food. This can provide the benefits of both types of diets while minimizing the drawbacks. For example, you can feed your cat a high-quality dry food for breakfast and a can of wet food for dinner. Or you can mix wet food with dry food to make a more palatable and hydrating meal. The key is to choose a high-quality diet that meets all of your cat's nutritional needs. Make sure the first ingredient is meat and avoid fillers like corn or byproducts. And consider your cat's individual needs. Senior cats, cats with kidney issues, or overweight cats may benefit more from wet food. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions about what to feed your cat, please ask your vet. Thanks for watching.